Well, this silver update is going to be basically for the naive and the naysayers. And I'm going to put a little more wisdom out there. Basically, it's going to be sort of a rehash of some of the things I said before. But, God, it's so obvious. But it's how are people missing what this whole Iran deal is, this nuclear Iran deal is really about? You know, you're not all kind of focusing on Obama and, and the controversy and all this type of stuff. It's almost like, we got the rabbit lane here. They can't see the forest for the trees, but the forest is staring them right back in the face, and you got the answer. It's obvious as all hell. I just can't believe that people can't see what's going on. I said it's kind of maybe a bit of rehash of something I said before, but it's just too damn important because it's something that's going to tell you that silver is going to go up to some astronomical price. Not as high as what the pumpers are going to be saying it's going to, because they want to sell at the top, but it's going to go higher than really what it should, figuring out all the P&Ls and, the profit and loss statements, net income statements, and what the cost of mine is, and all this type of stuff, because of a lot of factors going on in the Middle East. Now, I know Iran's celebrating. They're celebrating on the streets. And I actually, they got so crazy. I mean, it wasn't, I had to censor this for YouTube. I had to censor this for YouTube because the Iranians were just, they threw off their burqas. They were jumping up and down, dancing in the street. They were happy because now they can have nukes. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what no. They said they could just have inspections and the sanctions would be lifted off, right? Is that what that was? Whatever. But the Iranians were happy, they were really happy. So the Persian cats were happy, they were getting out their lint roller things and they were stroking their fur. Yeah, baby, we won. Because, Valerie Jarrett said, that's the deal, Obama. We want the deal. Now, I can only ascertain what's really going on behind the scenes because I'm realizing, Iran is going to have, when they're going to have all the sanctions lifted, it's basically like a bag of cash is going to be just flowing to them. First off, you got to be born yesterday. They're going to say, they're going to open up, they got so many mountains out there and things like that, underground facilities and all this kind of stuff. They can open up other centrifuges, other places. They probably already got some nukes from Pakistan, for all I know. But maybe not, because they're an enemy. But maybe from China, I don't know. But they can open up other centrifuges in other locations that aren't open to inspectors. Now, say, for instance, it turns out that, now I'm getting onto something here, because I could see what all this cash is going to do, It's going to finance all the enemies of not just Israel, but also the enemies of Saudi Arabia. Okay? And you know where that's going to lead to? The end of OPEC, because Saudi is basically the guys that rides roughshod over all of OPEC. They really set the whole pace for OPEC. They're losing their clout. And guess who's going to be in the driver's seat? USA and Canada, right? When that happens, you know what's going to happen to the price of oil? And when the price of oil goes way up, so does gold. And it's going to actually lead to more confrontation between Sunnis and Muslims. Now, the other thing is the nuclear option. I'm just talking about the centrifuges. They can hide more more centrifuges in the mountains, in areas where, the UN inspectors won't be, or whatever it is, according to the deal. Now, say, for instance, later on, they find out they're cheating. Oh, wow, really? They're cheating? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, they'd be cheating, all right. What are you going to do? Put sanctions on again? That ain't going to work, because they just gave them a pile of cash, right? They open up the floodgates, you know what I mean? Or they're lifting the sanctions, right? They're not going to be able to freaking put sanctions on again. That's done. Once you lift the sanctions ain't even good enough anyway. They should freaking bomb them. You know what I mean? Use some of that laser high-tech shit, pinpoint freaking centrifuge, You don't have to freaking carpet bomb the yo-yos. You just hit the freaking part. I think they got the stuff to do it. But, like Israel was going to do it, and Obama ratted them out, But the thing is, when I really see what's going on here. They're setting up a major confrontation between the Sunni and Shiite side. If you're Western people, they'd rather read a book. Why I Love Weed More Than People. They got their head in the clouds, and they just don't understand. I know there's propaganda out there about Persia hasn't freaking attacked anybody. Yeah, they haven't attacked anybody. They do it through proxy. They do it all the time. Loads of stuff going on. There's all kinds of stuff going on from both sides. But if you think stuff's really weird in the West sometimes, the problems even in Europe, maybe between the English, the Germans, the Italians, and the French, and the Spanish, and the Greeks, and whatever, that ain't nothing when you start talking about the differences in the Middle East. Holy smokes, man. They got grudges going all the way back, man. They got grudges in their own country. They got grudges in their own family, man. Add in a lot of nukes. Guess what's going to happen? I think the kingdom of Saudi is on the ropes. They know it too, man. They're worried. They're being surrounded. All that money Iran's going to have is going to go into the pockets of the Shiite rebels in Yemen. It's going to go in the hands of ISIS. It's basically on the northern border of Saudi and the southern border of Saudi. And the devil's going to be looking down on this like saying, oh, good, And the devil is the big bucks yo-yos over here in the United States behind the oil industry, man. Because they got the oil industry. They're going to be selling water to California in drops, too. $1 a gallon, whatever the hell it is, right? Probably didn't raise it from there. That'll be the next thing you oil barons do. But hey, you take off. I think that's just what's coming down. It's got to be coming down. It's got to be coming down. And I always said a major, major spike. And actually, it's not like I just said it. I mean, if you look back all the way through the decades, since the Middle East has become the number one producer of oil, what's been happening? What's been happening? Anytime there's a major conflagration that goes up and smoke up in the Middle East, oil prices go way up. And what happens with gold? It goes up. And when the gold goes up and oil goes up, what happens with silver? It goes up. It's basically what happens. You can't trust these politicians, man. They're basically controlled, talking through, a mask. And I think Obama is 100%, which actually, I know he's controlled by Valerie Jarrett, but the whole charade is basically controlled by the elite. It's policy. Because Saudi is a very, very powerful military force. If you want to equalize things a lot more, give Iran nukes. Oh, they'll have them real soon. Saudi's going to have them. Hey, if they all have them, guess what happens with the freaking oil supply from the Middle East? Goodbye. It's done. You just can't have a lot of oil there. And, well, first off, they won't have the infrastructure because a lot of it's going to get destroyed. But once you really knock out the political stability, production goes bye-bye. Done. And guess what? That's the intent for the naive. And I tell you, though, our economy is kind of sitting on a teeter-totter, like this woman here trying to stand up on the high heels, It's like trying to get up off the ground, and it's barely trying to get up off the ground with these low oil prices, but I think the oil prices, well, you notice, you hear all the predictions like the $20 a barrel oil, and now there's more predictions about, even oil going lower because of Iran's spigots are going to be open. I bet you, yeah, that could be from that side, right? That the Iranian spigots of oil could be now open, and they're gonna go everywhere, across the world, and it'd be more flush with oil. But the other side of it is there's gonna be a hell of a lot more money going into Shiite rebels and Hezbollah and everything else to finance terrorism against both Saudi and Israel, whatever, right? Those people don't like. But my whole point is, it's going to create far more tension in that area, more military conflicts that can actually send the price of oil up, and that's actually the key thing. That supply, anytime there's something really crazy in the Middle East happens, guess what happens? Oil goes up, gold goes up. I mean, it's got to be out of the ordinary. There's always something going on over there, right? But basically, this is the black flower that's predecessing exactly what's going to be happening. And, you notice something, too, even on the markets. They're going up, they're going down, but they're not really doing that much. Gold's sitting around $1,200, right? I mean, silver really didn't take this crazy plummet yet. The oil on the WTI is about $50, right? Roughly, a little over, a little under, blah, 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 you know? It's not really doing that much. I mean, it kind of have a little movement up, a little movement down. It's not making radical moves. And you know, what I'm saying is where it's going to make this radical move is now. I mean, Iran doesn't even need to get the nukes just yet. They're going to have them. But the thing is, they got the money. They got the money. You know, I'll give you a little lesson, too. Actually, I know there was a Lend-Lease back in the 30s with the Russians, but there was also another version of it in the 60s perpetrated by Rockefeller during the Vietnam War. And the North Vietnamese were actually having a tough time because they didn't have the money. And, you know, where they're getting their military hardware and financial aid from was Russia. But when they helped out Russia to wean them off of communism with another form of Lend-Lease in the 1960s, even though those things were not supposedly earmarked for military use, even though they could be indirectly because they were like trucks and motors and things like that, it gave them enough money to help the opposite side of the conflict through taxpayer money, actually, the USA. So what really this policy by Obama is actually by the elite that's directing Obama indirectly. What this policy is funding the Shiite side for a major conflict between Sunni and Shiite. And I don't know how Israel is going to fare in this whole situation. I know Israel's pretty damn well armed. I suspect that Israel probably has a number of extremely high-tech weapons that are the best cutting edge going, given by the United States military. I suspect. I don't know this, but I suspect they might be okay. I don't know. I really don't know for this. I don't know because nobody would know. That wouldn't be public information. But considering we don't even know how many nukes Israel has, they probably got about 500. But they got a lot of military hardware. And despite... Now, Iran really wants to wipe Israel off the face of the map. Don't let them fool you about that bullshit. You know, I know they freaking play the game. They're peace-loving people. Get the hell out of here. Maybe the average Iranian is, but it sure is in the leadership on the top, the religious leadership on the top. But I'm telling you, they're probably one of the first targets is going to be Saudi. And like I said, that's really what's going to bring the whole house of cards down as far as OPEC. OPEC is finished. You know, OPEC supposedly is going against the shale oil. Yeah, they are targeting the shale oil industry. But it's a done deal, man. You know why? Because OPEC, which is actually Saudi alone really calls the shots in OPEC. Iran's part of OPEC. Venezuela is part of OPEC. Sudan's part of OPEC. Kuwait, you know, it's almost like Saudi really is the heavy hand in OPEC. But by having all these funds being released, basically, by lifting the sanctions to Iran, it's the end of OPEC. Unless it's going to be a Shiite OPEC. They're going to destroy each other. I think that's the game of the elite. You know? So, you know, Iran is jumping for joy today, but, you know, there's going to be a major war, I think, between Saudi and Iran. It's setting the whole situation up. It doesn't even matter because in the beginning, you're not going to see like planes from Saudi going over to Iran and stuff. But they're already talking about Saudis talk. Well, actually, you heard about what the hell they bombed the Russian consulate in Yemen. You heard that one? They blew all the windows out and stuff. I don't know if that was an accident or not. But the next thing they're talking about is doing ground invasions in Yemen, because the Sunni government in Yemen is actually on the southwest corner of Yemen, And north of them, which is on the border of Saudi, is where the Shiite-backed rebels are, which are from being backed by Iran. So there's going to be all kinds of conflict over this immediately, because as soon as the money gets in the hands of Iranians, you're going to see all kinds of stuff happening. And it don't matter how much oil is even out there. Once you have these bigger events happen where Saudi's directly involved with ground troops, airstrikes, price of oil is going to go up. Then gold's going up. Then silver's going up. And this ain't going to stop, man. And it's also going to freaking knock out the underpinnings of the economy in the United States. Because, you know, even this so-called low oil prices, which is leading to low fuel prices, which is helping keep people have a little more money in their pockets, it's not really doing much, and they damn well know it. Now, you add in higher oil prices, you start getting old gasoline up to like $4 a gallon due to this type of stuff. It will go up that high. And it's going to go a lot higher than that. And the underpinnings of the economy is just going to go. But the people on the top are going to be making money. People on the top. Actually, you know, the ones in the top too. You know, other ones are going to be making money besides the oil industry. The mining industry is going to start having its day again. Big time. You know, it's a cycle. It's just like any damn thing else, everything else. It's like you really can't always look at those P&Ls and say that's why the price of silver is this or the price of silver is that. Yeah, you can understand that the P&Ls are telling you how much money you're making on the price of silver, but I'm telling you is that you can't just go by how profitable it is that's why the price is set a certain way. There's a lot of other factors involved. And as the other things come to fruition, except like in the stock market, I mean, I think we're going to have another day where it's going to be a Black Monday or Black Tuesday where we see stocks tumble a fantastic amount. It'll happen all at once. When it happens quickly. It doesn't take long. We're having signs where the stock market has already peaked out. It's kind of like not going over this 18,000 Dow. It's not doing anything spectacular. It's going up. It's taking a charge up. It's taking a charge down. It's like these are the warning signs before a big crash. And the other warning signs are the PE ratios. But look at the mining industries. Look at what's going on in the mining industries. You got essential, like silver. I got to repeat this. You know, oil is the most widely used commodity out there. But you know what? The second most widely used diverse commodity out there is silver. So it's not like it's hula hoops. You need it for every damn thing there is. You know, why are miners not making that much money? Think about it. You think that situation is going to stay that way? Hell no. Hell no. And the thing is, when there's more conflict, there's actually more demand for silver. But it's not even just about supply and demand. When the underpinnings of the stock market come down, a lot of people, and you're going to start seeing silver start to move up. You know, after the fact, people will say, I should have had my money in silver. Because if I had my money in silver at, you know, $16, $17 an ounce, I would have never lost, you know, 50% of my money in this equities market. And then they'll see, wow, it's already up to $20 an ounce. It's going to cause more money to go in there. And the thing is, you really can't even look at the P&Ls of the mining companies to determine how high it's going to go. The whole thing's going to go full pendulum the opposite direction, where they're going to be extremely flush in cash. And actually, that's where you get the ludicrous predictions of, you know, $1,000 an ounce silver, you know, whatever the hell else is out there, because it ain't going that damn high. But it's going to go a lot higher than it should by, you know, profitability. It will, because markets are psychological to the max. and Middle East events are going to drive this market to the max. It's going to do. That's why. And if you're actually looking for the next move, it might be real estate. Could be. But I'm not going to give any specific advice on that. But it could be. But always look for something that's a capital asset that will produce for you rather than fluff. And that's one of the reasons you stay with your silver coins, because silver is a true capital asset. It may not be a productive asset until it actually becomes into a good, but it is a capital asset ingredient, that's for sure. So, and it is a capital asset in a true financial sense. But when I look at this, people who invest in pure fluff, they're going to be the ones that are going to lose out money. I mean, you can look at this pretty flower and say, well, it might be a great investment. But it's not going to be around for that long. Other things will be around a long period of time. And, some of the big standbys actually is real estate, because land has always been around a long time. And, I'm not talking about swamp land, but, actual good land. And the other thing is, sometimes, like when you're talking, and paper cash, it's going to have its limits. It's just a medium of exchange in itself. You really want to have most of your money in capital assets. So, if you're sitting on silver, your time will come. But that doesn't mean you're going to hold paper cash when your time comes. That's going to be the medium of exchange to get you into another hard capital asset that is durable. So, long term. Anyway, just want to put this out for the naive, because it seems that some people cannot see really what's going on, because they scream about what's been going on in the last few years, and they can't see just how the situation is going to really play out. And I know it's going to have a limit to how high silver is going to go, but it's going to actually go higher than it should by the book or by the P&Ls. Because the miners are going to make a hell of a lot of money when it goes up. And they're going to continue to make money, and they're going to continue to make more money until it crashes again. And it might take a lot to really crash it, and it'll probably never see these prices again, ever. When it starts really going on the next bull run up, you're never going to see $20 silver even after the next bull run up, because it might be $50 to $75 or more, or even $100 for crying out loud. But I know when it gets over 50, there's going to be $500 and $1,000 predictions out there left and right. But I am not going to be stretching that kind of garbage. I don't know where it's going to go to, but caution is something you want to watch. That you're not going to be you have to be extremely lucky to actually sell everything at the top. But the next thing that you really want to be cautious with is the next move. Watch out for the next move. Don't spend all your money on dancing girls or something like that, because that is basically a total waste of money. I mean, they could do that in Iran when they're jumping up and down saying, yay, they're going to lift the sanctions. Oh boy, yeah, I'm going to throw my burqa off, right? Crazy Iranians. Sometimes you're cool, sometimes you're cool. When you get out there and you party, I don't know. You really can be cool sometimes, I ain't totally against you. You get wild, you're all right. But anyway, what can I say? Persian cats. Well, that's one Persian I like. Persian cats. They got a lot of fur. They look pretty cool. They look pretty noble. But maybe Persian cats should be the religious leaders over in Iran. What do you think about that, huh? I think that would be a major improvement, right? I sure do think so.